Hey, JK here, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Week 8 is in the books, and I am super excited to talk about it because I had a great fantasy week. There were some other factors about Week 8 leading into Week 9 that got me excited and looking forward to baseball in general. Tyler Glasnow came back and pitched 4+ innings with 8 strikeouts against a pretty high-powered Dodgers team. Tristan McKenzie is one more minor league appearance away from appearing for the Guardians, and best of all, on Monday, Liam Hendriks was officially activated from the disabled list or the injured list by the White Sox as he has beaten cancer. That is amazing news. I think that's one of the biggest stories outside of baseball, that's part of baseball, of the entire year. Another similar story you can think about was Trey Mancini a few years ago. I'm super excited to hear about Hendriks coming back. They will open up with a series against the Astros, so maybe we can see Hendriks in there getting some saves for the White Sox here in this upcoming week. We will start with the Cheese Weasels. So, that team right now is sitting in 7th with 98.5 points. Again, I'm going to reiterate weekly, this is a fluctuating points league. So, 2-3 weeks ago I was up to 4th. Now I'm sitting in 7th. Obviously not where I want to be. I have plenty of time to jump back into it. Made some adds and some drops that I think and hope will help me. I'm also going to talk about some of the categories I'm dead last in, but also some of the ones I'm leading. So again, you kind of have an idea of what I'm doing in the league. I started off the week by adding Josh Jung and dropping Jake Burger. I had him for about a week, and he just ended up getting me some offers to end the week. So Josh Jung is on the rise. He had a hot start to the year, went into a little lull, and seems to be back on a roll. So picked him up, and he's already producing for my team. I also picked up Lamont Wade Jr. I did drop Rowdy Tellez as a first baseman. Lamont has a lot of walks. He seems to have a great eye at the plate, and Rowdy has sat out the past few games. It had a few offers for me. So Lamont Wade, Josh Jung, and Lars Nootbaar. So I added him. Seems to be on a hot streak as well. Has a good amount of walks. Has a nice on-base percentage. So wanted to see what he could do for my team and see how he could help me out a little bit. As far as the drops, as I mentioned before, Jake Burger and Rowdy Tellez, and also Lamont Wade. Some of the biggest contributors this week to my team included Yordan Alvarez giving me 4 home runs and 8 walks. Jonathan India with 2 home runs and hitting a cool 323. Josh Jung contributing with 3 homers, and Camilo Doval with 3 saves. The categories I am doing poorly in include batting average and on-base percentage. So I need to get some guys who are having some walks. Maybe have that higher batting average, but also who are producing with runs, hits, steals, of course, home runs. So those are the 2 categories I need to work on. The categories that I'm doing well in include strikeouts, stolen bases, and walks and hits per innings pitched, or WHIP. We're going to transition over to my Kent Murphy Dingers, where I took the win this week 5 categories to 2 categories. With the win this week, I jumped to 3rd overall in the league and 2nd in my division. Some of the batters that helped me to this win included Jonathan India and his cool 323 batting average, Matt Olson and his 3 home runs, and Esteury Ruiz with 3 stolen bases. Pitching-wise, some of the main guys that helped me included Giovanni Gallegos with the 2 saves, who I got in the trade a few weeks ago. Hunter Brown and Logan Webb both pitched me to wins with 10 strikeouts each, and Nathan Eovaldi had a complete game win for me. The ads this week included Miguel Castro, the closer or co-closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Mark Leiter Jr., the closer or should-be closer for the Cubs, and Tanner Houck. Going into Sunday, I needed another pitcher to see if I could maintain the wins category to keep my lead. I did have Taj Bradley, however, he was moved to start on Monday, so Tanner Houck was taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Figured that might be a good matchup. I was wrong. The drops included Ian Happ. Now you might look at his stat line, 285. He's got some runs, some stolen bases, some home runs, but he's hit a little bit of a lull. So I decided to cut bait with him. I was trying to trade him, but no one was biting, so maybe someone will grab him up off the waiver wire, or if he heats up and he's still available, I'll grab him back. Another guy I had to let go of was Ezekiel Duran. Multi-positional player, doing well for the Rangers, which was a hot team with a good lineup, but ended up hitting the 10-day IL, and I didn't have enough space for him. I also had to cut bait with Jeff McNeil. Got him in a trade a few weeks ago. Just hasn't really been doing it for me. He's been very low at the plate. Yeah, he's hitting almost 300 like he was last year. Not quite to the 326, but just wasn't producing like I needed him to, so he's gone. And another guy who I'm sure many people have let go because of his poor performance, Jorge Lopez. I know I was talking him up at the beginning of the year, talking about his pristine whip and his pristine ERA, hadn't given up a run, but he hit a wall this past week, let up 2 and 3 earned runs each, didn't even record an out one of his last times pitching, so had to cut bait, man. Now we're going to move to the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys. This week, I won another game, so I've won a total of 3 games. I've jumped from 12th out of 12 to 9th out of 12, and I'm tied with 2 other teams, so I could potentially be considered 7th out of 12. The score was 387 to 331. The other guy did only have 10 starting pitchers where I had 13, so it could have potentially gone the other way had he utilized the 3 other starting pitchers, but he didn't, so I won. Guys who produced biggest for me this week included Mackenzie Gore, Ronald Acuna, and Dalton Varsho, each getting me at least 31 points. Looking at the adds and drops this week, the adds included Ezekiel Duran, who eventually went on the IL, Lamont Wade, who, as we talked about before, seems to be getting his points by having such a good eye at the plate and drawing some walks. I also picked up Vince Velasquez and JP France. With Duran and Velasquez taking up IL spots, I only had to drop 2 guys, and those 2 guys included Matt Mervis and Brandon Marsh. Next, Russell My Jim Jams was able to win 8 categories to 3 categories to 5 categories, bringing the total record up to 48, 58, and 22, 5th in the league. Pitching-wise, Merrill Kelly was able to get me a 10 strikeout game and a win, and Giovanni Gallegos was able to grab me 2 saves. Hitting-wise, Jose Altuve, Brandon Nimmo, Austin Hayes, Yandy Diaz, and Jonathan India were able to all hit at least .313, each have at least 3 runs, at least 3 extra base hits. 2 of them were able to have 6 RBIs, and another 2 had OPS over 1,000. Talk about big time contributors. The adds this week included Giovanni Gallegos, who was a big contributor as mentioned before, Peter Strzelecki, who's the holds guy in Milwaukee, Bryson Stott, who's been on a tear as of the last week or so, Jesse Chavez, who grabs wins and holds for the Braves, especially because AJ Minter has blown up and has an ERA still above 7, and Taylor Walls. He is a multi-positional player for the Rays who has double-digit steals this year. The drops included Braxton Garrett, JP France, Colin Holderman, who I was able to pick up 2 other guys to grab me holds, and Jake Fraley. And the last league, South Harmon Institute of Technology. This was saved for last because it was the biggest blowout. I won 11 categories to 4 categories to 3 categories. The best part about it, I was going against the guy who's leading in the league, who is now 2nd in the league because of that beatdown. This week's categories brought me to 63, 57, and 24 overall, with a .520 winning percentage and 1 game behind the leader in my division. Overall, I have the 4th or 5th, I'm tied, best record in the league. So, big things are happening for South Harmon. Pitching-wise, the guys that contributed most were Hunter Brown and Merrill Kelly, both getting me wins and 10 strikeout games, and Jordan Romano, who grabbed me 2 saves. Hitting-wise, you'll hear some familiar names to help my team, including Austin Hayes, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Nimmo, Jonathan India, and newbies Freddie Freeman and Ty France all hit at least .318 with 16 total bases, 2 walks each, 3 runs, and all but one of them had at least 1 home run this week. Holy moly, talk about production. The adds and drops this week were very minimal and all pitching based. I added Mark Leiter Jr. and Miguel Castro and dropped Jorge Lopez and Eric Swanson. This week's guys to look out for include 1 pitcher and 1 hitter. Michael Soroka of the Atlanta Braves is getting a call up this week to start against the Oakland Athletics. At AAA Gwinnett this year, he has 35 innings pitched with 4+ ERA and 1.33 WHIP. It's not looking phenomenal, but the last few starts he was able to string together a few good ones to have some momentum and confidence going into this game against the Athletics. It should be a pretty good game to ease Soroka back into the major league lineups with the light-hitting Athletics, so might be someone to string. The hitter is Matt McLain, shortstop for the Reds. He has hit safely in 10 of the 12 games he's been in the major leagues with 11 runs, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, and a stolen base. He does seem to have clear playing time with some guys on the IL, so might be a good idea to ride the hot bat while he's available. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all have a great week, and I'm looking forward to bringing you how I do in week 9. This is J-Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.